welcome our esteemed panelists for the next panel discussion, Aligning Education with Global Industry Ecosystem, Reforms, Collaborations, and the Road Ahead. For that, I would like to call upon Ms. Kinnari Kotecha, Faculty Business Administration and Teacher Trainer, Ministry of Education, Dubai, who is the moderator for this session today. Philip Quirke, Executive Dean, Faculty of Education, Higher Colleges of Technology, Ras Al Khaimah, UAE. Dr. Indranil Bose, Vice President, Academics, Adamas University, West Bengal, India. Professor Joseph Wallis, Dean, School of Business, American University of Ras Al Khaimah. And Dr. Hanadi Kadbey, Head, Institutional Research and Effectiveness, Institutional Research and Effectiveness Department, Emirates College for Advanced Education, Dubai. I hand over the stage to Ms. Kinnari Kotecha for being the moderator today, Aligning Education with Global Industry Ecosystem, Reforms, Collaborations, and the Road Ahead.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's my pleasure to be a moderator for this panel. And, since morning, I have been listening to most of the panel discussions that have happened here. And what I addressed is whether they were talking about the challenges they have faced, they are facing, or whether they were talking about the technology. Every one of you have highlighted something called as skills. You all said that thinking skills, critical thinking skills, and there is a lot of challenges in terms of what the industry requires today, in terms of what comes out from the education system, okay? And that exactly is the point over here today that we are going to discuss with the panel over here. And I have just bifurcated this into four very simple points. One is skills. The second is vocational exposure at the university and the higher educational level. The third is the industrial partnership and employability skills. Okay, so when I was going through all the information available on internet and done surveys, I found out that every country, whether you talk about US has reported there is a huge gap in employability skills of what graduates they are getting in. UK has reported the same thing. To the surprise, even Singapore has reported the same things. India has reported the same thing. So I think we are talking something very global right now. We are talking about the challenges that all the countries are facing, that we have graduates, we have people going for higher education, but we do not find the students that come out to be having those skills that we need them to do the job. It is as simple as that. So going to the industrial experts right now, I'll start with Dr. Phil. I would like you to enlighten us about there is so much of changes happening around the world in the education system. Recently, we came across coding being introduced in the school system itself. And then, of course, there is much more advancement which is required in a higher education. How do you think the universities and the colleges are trying to make an attempt or incorporate this kind of vocational skills that are required in the students who are going to be our future workforce today?
Hello? Yeah, it's there. All right. I don't think it was recent, to tell you the truth. The higher colleges and all federal universities, we were asked to introduce coding into our curricula 6 years ago. And most of us, I think, introduced it and met these government requirements to look at coding skills. There was entrepreneurship and innovation we had to do as well, and that was normally done through a general studies course. So I think we've actually now reached a stage where the system is much more mature. We're seeing students coming out of school with far more advanced coding skills than they ever had 6 years ago. So that allows us now at a program level to start specializing and finding equivalents to those general studies courses. So for example, in early childhood education, we're now working with partners to introduce young learners coding courses as an equivalent to the code, because the students are actually coming into the colleges now can do the coding course that was originally designed almost with their eyes closed. So we've got to move forward and I think specialize in that area. The same goes for entrepreneurship, innovation, sustainability, all these areas which 5, 6, 7, even 8 years ago that higher education was being asked to cover these areas. A lot of them are now being dealt with from the schools, and we're getting quite high levels of competency coming into there. So that's the first thing, there's a maturity coming through. I think the other thing is how we engage and liaise and work with partners. Yeah? So I think most of us in higher education, we have, in every program, we have industry advisory councils, industry program academic committees, and we work with our industry partners to develop curricula that is relevant to them. I was actually a bit quite upset in some of the other panels I've seen over the year where we've had industry sitting here saying, oh, academia are lacking in this. I'm very, very sorry, this may be true in India, it certainly isn't true here. Yeah? We work very, very closely in this country with our industry partners. And I think we need to look back in history and we need to question industry and say, are you abdicating your own training responsibilities? You cannot demand of a high school system that an 18-year-old comes out as like the super student with skills that most of us only attained any level of competency at when we were 30, 35. And we're now asking 18-year-olds to do that? And that's before they even get into higher education. We have to start looking at new ways of working together. And some of the panels today were doing really well, I thought, when they started bringing up the micro-credentials, ways we can work with industries, ways higher education can look at breaking down CLOs into micro-credentials. There's so many different ways we can work together. Industry-relevant certifications which can be embedded into programs. We have an IT program that actually has 6 different industry certifications built into that one program. These are the ways we need to work together, but we have to work together. We can't come to forums like this and sit down and say something's lacking in the other area. We need, and this whole summit is wonderful because we've got industry, school, and higher education all together. Yeah? And we need to be sitting together and working together and collaborating, not sitting up here and say, oh, academia is lacking or industry is lacking. No, it's collaboration. Great education comes from collaboration, communication, and working together. Anything less than that, we're letting our learners down. Yeah? And we please have to stop thinking about the super student who's kind of graduating with all the competent skills and knowledge that we actually didn't have until we were 50. Yeah? The new generation might be super, but they're not superhuman, right? So that would be my end of the...
Can I add something to Phil? So currently in the UAE, and as Phil mentioned, I think we are ahead of the game. And recently, and as instructed by the Ministry of Education and the National Qualifications Center, higher education institutions are encouraged to focus more on apprenticeship programs. We're combining the job training with the classroom and with the technical training has quite a good number of benefits. Students will have the chance to feel the work environment, and this will aid them in cultivating the skills that we were talking about, and they will have the right support from their potential employers very early at their career journey. And this apprenticeship system has proven to be very successful in countries like Switzerland. So in Switzerland, they start introducing apprenticeship to children in grade 4, and by the age of 15, students can select out of 250 apprenticeship programs a program, and when they graduate from high school, they are equipped with skills for jobs, and by then they will have the chance either to transit to a job or to join a university of a profession or a professional college. And this is now the direction in the UAE, because this will decrease a lot the unemployability of young youth. So with having micro-credentials, with focusing more on apprenticeship, I think we will start to address any of the challenges that are brought about.
That's amazing. You have answered quite a lot of the thing, and of course I believe that we are not coming out with superhumans coming out of university for sure. Also, this brings to my notice Dr. Indranil. You know, everybody has been talking about employability skills here, okay? And we saw that the countries have been changing their curriculum system to give this an equal weightage from whether we talk about NEP 2020 or whether we talk about American curriculum. They have been giving a lot of weightage to what skills this child is developing, okay? And how do you think this is actually working in practicality? Are universities or colleges really equipped, or in reality, does it work that way to give employability skills at the level of university?
Yeah, just one thing, because I'm just statistics sharing you, because since independence in India, I mean, this has seen phenomenal changes in Indian education system. If I put one statistics as just taking a note from the government website, presently 41.4 million Indians are in higher education. It's a big number. When size of the population of many European countries also actually. So you understand the size and the number of the universities in India. This is more than 1,000 universities in India. And there are 54 central universities which are owned and run by the government of India. There are 416 state universities across India. 125 deemed to be universities, that is they are not university but they are considered equal to the university. 361 private universities running in India. And 159 institutions of national importance, including IITs and IIMs and all these kind of things. So the setup is very big, very huge in India. And when the size matters, definitely implementing something becomes a big challenge. In 2020, the government of India has gone for national education policy. And it was not implemented. Before, I mean, national education policy was planned and put forward in the Indian Parliament to be implemented. So there are several commissions and all these things happened, but this new particular education policy has tried to implement a lot of things which was truly revolutionize the Indian education, or will do it. So in the sense, I'm telling you, see, one major aspect of this particular new NEP is that, NEP full form is NEP, many of you know that, the National Education Policy of Government of India. Any of the states in India, as per the Indian Constitution, education is the concurrent subject. State government and the central government can enact the laws and the rules there. It's the policy there. Now, many of the state governments have already accepted this NEP and plan to implement it in India. Many of the state governments are not. The point is that, implementing NEP in all these big number of institutions and the universities of higher learning in India, it's a real challenge. And because I have mentioned the 41.4 million students are studying in higher education in India, many of them are studying in the STEM curriculum. There are many of them studying in non-STEM curriculum like this. And Indian education system is traditionally inclined to the British system, because we had the British colonies earlier. So we all know that thing. Now they are diversifying into the other systems like, say, multiple entry and exit system. Curriculum is being mapped with the different skill sets to be developed for the employees, for the employment for the students. Okay, a lot of things are being done. And I am telling you, I was listening to the speech of the other speakers, honorable speakers here. Yes, many of the things are being done in universities. Number one, I am telling you, like industry integrated programs have been made mandatory as per the NEP. Many of the universities are implementing it. India's top-notch universities, even private and the government universities, are implementing it. I mean, NEPs means industry integrated means, say, a lot of multinational companies in India, they're functioning, big number of companies functioning. From the IT sector, like Infosys, like Wipro, like even TCS, even Microsoft, they are all going for the different kind of industry integrated programs with the Indian universities, mainly in the IT sector and many other sectors. I'm telling other aspects, see, even the big companies in the other areas like logistics supply chain, like aviation sector. Okay, I'm telling you one example, like Airbus. Airbus has a big office in India, in Bangalore. They don't manufacture a plane in India, but they have the office for the commercial purpose in the entire Southeast Asia based in Bangalore. Now Airbus has gone for the large-scale internship program with all the Indian universities there, working there. And same like that, Toyota and many other companies working in India, they're doing it, same like that. So presently, I am telling you approximately 69,000 Indian students studying in different Indian universities in India. They are under the internship program, under the industry integrated internship program with top-notch companies, multinational companies. Many of them are Fortune 500 companies like that. Okay, so things are being changing gradually. NEP has talked about multiple entry and exit, and it is say 4 years curriculum has been planned to introduce in India rather than 3 years program as per the US pattern and system. Most of the Indian universities have been asked to go for the NBA, National Board of Accreditation Assessment, thing, which is as per the Washington Accord. India is a signatory of Washington Accord. So that will make the Indian qualifications more employable globally, across the globe. And around 30% universities in India, they have done it already. And NBA also is inviting, I am from management background, so all these ASASB accreditations and EMB accreditations, large number of Indian universities are going for that. And many of them are the campus in Dubai also. So in other parts of, say, they have Singapore also, many parts of the world also. So what I am telling you here, scenario is changing. NEP has given the clear insight what can be done to improve the entire situation to make them more employable. So I think I'm in a positive note that something good will change. Maybe it's a big country, it's a big population, big student strength, it's a very complex political structure, you all understand that there. Okay, so maybe overnight it will not change, but definitely something good will happen. Thank you.
Well, I completely agree. Nothing is going to change overnight, and there are a lot of challenges, even as an educator, one faces inside the classroom to implement this kind of curriculum in place. Okay, so we are talking something, and we agree that everyone sitting over here is more about how do we develop skills in higher education. So I would like to have Mr. Joseph, Professor Joseph, to answer me this, that, there's a lot of emphasis on development of skills like creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and we really want our students to have these skills in their base, because what makes them successful professionally and personally, beyond having technical skills, are these skills. So how do you think that the universities or higher education is programming or structuring and inculcating the skills in the students?
Yeah, thank you very much. There's an old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And one of the things that does stay the same is employer, I suppose, interest, concern that students come out with these kind of soft skills. And I belong to an American-style university. I'm a dean of a business school at the American University of Russell, Khaimah, and every program, 25% of courses have to be general education courses. And these courses are taken by students in their first and second years, and they develop these kind of soft skills. But I guess as a dean of a business school, the thing that concerns me is that they are further reinforced and developed as they come through our business courses, our core courses, our major electives and requirements. And so, one of the things we've built into our mission is the idea of the kind of students we want. What sort of students do you want? We want them to be thoughtful, collaborative, creative, responsible, think critically, take initiative, and so on. And as I say, these are things that the employers are telling us they want from students when they join them. And so we build it into our mission. We say these are the kind of students we want. From the mission, our program learning outcomes, of course, reflect these. So we have both discipline-specific and core program learning outcomes that reflect these skills. And as students come through, each course, is expected to contribute towards the development of these soft skills. And then at the end of the day, as part of AACSB, at the end of the day, when students graduate, we want to see, have they retained these skills? Are we going to send them out with these kind of skills? And so we assess them, we identify weaknesses, and then we go back through the courses to look at ways in which we can reinforce them. But, the other side of it, these skills are best developed actively through active engagement in the classroom. And, one of the things we evaluate our faculty on is how they are actively engaging students in developing these kind of skills through teamwork, through simulations, through competitions, and so on. And I'm sure we're not alone in this. I mean, this is probably a familiar story to a lot of universities in the region. But it's certainly something that we place high emphasis on and what we want to see developed as students come through their program of study. Thank you.
Can I add
Of
something?
course, I was going to ask you to add on to this because you come from a different field of expertise altogether. And of course, the development of skills falls very important in your field as well.
Yeah, so we all agree that teaching technical skills is a very clear and tangible process in most of the cases. However, teaching someone to be patient, to be a team worker, to be an active listener might not follow a predetermined formula. Teaching soft skills, or I don't want to use the word teaching, cultivating soft skills might be a bit challenging. And as per best practice and as per various research studies, soft skills can be cultivated through a more flexible, shorter, or more frequent approaches. So in our institution, because we prepare educators and soft skills is a major contributor to their success. So we provide those student teachers or aspiring educators opportunities to develop their soft skills using various platforms. It could be through short mentoring and coaching. It could be with their peers, it could be with their academic advisors, it could be with faculty. In addition to that, some students who are excelling in a course and who are willing to provide or contribute to the community, they are developing podcasts, short podcasts or short videos on how soft skills can be nurtured and cultivated. So soft skills are taught not only in the formal curriculum, it is taught in the through the interactions and through hidden curriculum as well.
Can I add one? Yes, I think Joseph's point was a good one where he said that the general studies tends to be done in the first couple of years, and then how do we ensure those skills continue? And I think one way we do it is actually through our simulations, projects, portfolio, but the fact that we actually assess them, and through rubrics and clear rubric assessment criteria, we do that. And this again then goes when they're going out into their work placement as well, and we work with the employers and industry and ensure that we're assessing those soft skills and assessing together, so that there's this continuous review. We're also in teacher education in my faculty, and so we actually review it with the students as well. So you've got the students, the education institution, the employer, all reviewing these rubrics and looking at how do we actually meet what the employer needs there, because we involve them in the actual development of these rubrics and how they see those soft skills assessed, how they observe them at the students actually doing that at the workplace. And I think that actually also goes back to Indranil and Hanadi's points about the apprenticeship. And I particularly like some of the new models of apprenticeship coming through. You mentioned the one in Switzerland. But I think the great thing about apprenticeship, as you said, Indranil, there are huge programs of apprenticeship in India. But apprenticeships are about industry employing and then releasing somebody for further study. So, by definition, education must work much more closely with industry on apprenticeship programs than in any other form of, and I think as well, like the others, that here in the UAE, we have enormous possibilities to build on the current industry, education, if you like, cohesion, collaboration, but build and strengthen that through the discussion of how these apprenticeship programs could be developed, because from the point of view of Emiratization, it is possibly the one approach that could have a bigger impact than any other.
absolutely glad to know that there is so much of thing happening in the higher education where we are trying our level best to, bring industrial partnership and make our future students be actually the part of workforce even before they are the part of workforce. Yeah, and one of the thing that strikes my mind, we had a guest over here who spoke about educational tourism, yeah? And he made a great point today. He said that, this is my question to you, because we have so much of exchange of innovation, technology, and human happening across the world and in UAE. And onus of this, again, falls on educators to be well-equipped. The educators have to be well-equipped to deal with different nationalities, different culture, different education system, curriculum, assessment, pedagogy, and that's a lot to expect. But how do we make sure that the students, the teacher students who are getting trained right now are really having the exposure to this kind of a cultural practices and the educational practices?
I totally agree with what you said, and I'll go back to the UAE because all my experience in the UAE while it was growing. So I strongly believe that the UAE has been so proactive in planning to address the challenges that you've mentioned, including having introducing the students to the global perspective. So if we look, and this is evident very much in the short-term strategy and the long-term strategy of the UAE. So if we look at the UAE 2071 Centennial, we see that one of the 4 pillars is a diversified knowledge economy that is competitive, that is one of the best economies worldwide. And this will require a lot of investment in scientific research, focus on innovation and encouraging entrepreneurship. And for this to be successful, or for this to materialize, this knowledge-based economy needs to be supported by an excellent education system, which is another pillar in the UAE Centennial 2071. And this education, or excellent education, encourages education institutions to be incubators of innovation, of entrepreneurship, to be international research centers, to be equipped with approaches and mechanisms that support students identify their talents at an early age. And to get to this education excellence, we need a proper education system. And the UAE as well has started the education reform from K to 12. In 2017, the teacher standards and the leadership standards were launched. And to support the educators to have the professional competence to be up to the expectations of the leadership of this country. Emirates College for Advanced Education, the institution that I belong to and that aims at preparing teachers and education leaders, is responsible to contribute to this education reform. And as such, and I will refer back to what Dr. Farzana mentioned, the focus now, we agree that there are knowledge, skills, and competencies, but we are moving more towards competencies. So as an education or as a higher education institution preparing teacher educators, we had to look at other countries and aim to be on par with pioneering international teacher preparation institutions. So we benchmarked with Finland, we benchmarked with Singapore, and we said that the starting point is to develop a competency framework for educators. And this competency framework encompasses a number of dimensions. I'll just give you an example to relate to what you said. So one of the dimensions is educators should be future cultivators. They should be future cultivators to who are able to apply teaching strategies, utilize teaching resources to build their students' future-ready skills to be able to cope with the challenges brought about by advances in technology, by an ever-evolving world. Another dimension of this, or another competency of this future cultivator dimension, is to be to apply innovative technologies and pedagogies that provide a learning environment for the students. I'm speaking now about school students that nurtures the entrepreneurial skills that are required for the knowledge-based economy that we spoke about earlier. So in this way, the competency framework is built. Education institutions will map their programs and will design their programs to ensure that when student teachers graduate, they have all these competencies that prepare them to be future ready and that will help them to support their students to be future ready as well and cope with all the globalization, or let me say the localization. We said global, but we should not forget that in the UAE, the educators raise awareness and knowledge of other cultures and respect towards other cultures, while at the same time embracing the UAE heritage, culture, Islamic values, and positive values of family and social cohesion. So in this way, I think with a competency framework for educators as the starting point, we are addressing all those challenges that you've mentioned.
That was a great insight. The one thing that just crossed my mind while you were speaking, to take this a little more further, this discussion a little more further, do you think that, like more on awareness grounds over here, that do you think that student exchange program, because she just mentioned that we are here trying to compete and get the system aligned with the best systems across the world, and do you think the student exchange program or is being implemented, or is something that is an answer to what we are talking right now?
Okay, quickly from me. Student exchange programs have been a way of life in the UAE ever since I've been here, and that's a couple of decades. The Higher College of Technology, I think way back in 2000, 1999 maybe, we had our chemical engineers going to France, we had our food inspection going down to Australia. It's a standard. I think it can be enhanced. I think we've been working in teacher education with the early childhood New Zealand and looking at the future, having exchange, because I think the key is exchange. We are very unique in the UAE, and I think for the New Zealand teachers to come here and experience what's here is as valuable for them as it is for our students to go to New Zealand. So yes, I think it's essential. I think it goes hand in hand with everything this country aspires to, and certainly what's within our vision. We've got a few going to India as well, so hopefully we'll have more coming this way as well. So, but I think that's true in India as well, isn't it? The international exchange is quite developed. Huh?
Yeah, international exchange programs, I mean, even many of the universities and the business schools are offering the programs like, say, for the MBA programs, the India, it's 2 years program. For first year, they're studying in India. Second year, they're studying in some other country, the partner universities, they're doing it. I'm aware of that. And apart from that, many of the universities in India, they have this kind of collaboration with the other universities where students can come and students from India can go outside. In my present university where I'm working, we have the collaboration with 84 universities across the globe. And we have seen that, say, they're from UK, US, even South Africa, Singapore, even UAE, I know that, so like that. And we have a separate department for that also, International Relations Department. And students are coming, maybe not in large number, maybe 5 students are coming from Germany to study here. and 6 students are going to study to Germany or to UK or to some other countries or to US or with the partner universities. They're studying there. First of all, this helps their cultural exposure. Then they are having the exposure to the higher level of learning. That's more important. Then thirdly, their confidence level goes up. It's a very important part. And I also want to mention here that, see, as per the NEP, just she said, see, National Higher Education Qualification Framework has been developed, and which is actually looking after the standardization, global benchmarking, graduate attributes, which is very common in the UK and the US system, because I have taught in the UK system for a long time, for almost 10 years. And expected learning outcomes, how they can develop it, and learning outcomes have been developed along with the industry partners mostly, because they're the most important stakeholders in higher education. I mean, there are main 3 stakeholders are definitely the organization, they are offering the courses, the industry and the students basically. So when you are developing the graduate attributes and the expected learning outcomes, we should take the cognizant of the student, I mean the industry also, what kind of expectation they have. Another part I'm telling you, many of the universities in India, in many of the programs, like say, our Prime Minister has started Skill India mission. It's a very popular one, and Make in India. That has attracted a lot of investments in India from abroad. So when they are coming to India, they're looking for the workforce, employable workforce who can work with their world-class system, basically. It's something important. Like I was mentioning the Airbus. Airbus came to India only 8-9 years back. And when the Airbus came, Airbus is looking for that kind of people and skill sets who can work there. So Airbus is going into collaboration with different things. I get the example of Microsoft, Google. All these companies have their industry collaborations in India, in different areas, even in liberal arts also. So that is very important nowadays, because when you are developing our curriculum, learning outcomes and all those things, even the student, I mean the faculty members are coming from industry actually. We have some, we have a collaboration with DHL in the logistics supply chain domain. So DHL people are coming and taking the classes in our campuses. So these kind of things are very important, and also they are making the capacity building for our faculty members. We'll be teaching later. Assessment plan wise, when you are making the assessment plan, it is also important because making learning outcomes, assessment criteria and all these things are very important. So that side also is being taken care of. But it is actually developing. Definitely it will take, the target has been given 2025. So 2 years more we are having. So after that definitely the government will do the review and things will be done. I mean, so there's the thing.
Moreover, this has been a very positive panel discussion, I feel, because there's a lot of positive takeaway. There's a lot of things happening in the industry. There are a lot of best practices that are already happening in terms of universities implementing skill-based curriculum and trying to work with the industry itself to set that standard. The programs that have been introduced, and there's a student exchange happening, and there's a teachers training, the way it is taking place. It looks like a very positive panel discussion, and that's really nice. And I would like to throw this open for anybody who would like to add up something over here.
No, sure. I think just on that, last issue of international experience, we discussed this yesterday, and of course, all of us have had the experience over COVID of a kind of a wind down, if you like, in face-to-face international exchange. But, one of the positive things that happened to COVID was an increase in virtual exchange. And, we found that through something called COIL projects, where our students work with students in overseas universities virtually and together on projects, that really helped them. It improved their confidence. They particularly, the local students felt they could really hold their own with, high-profile students in America, Britain, and so on, and increased their confidence, increased their cultural appreciation, and gave them a taste for overseas exchange. Because often, there's a reticence about going overseas. But I think with these kind of events, we certainly have, I suppose, broken the ice and see a way forward in that area. Thanks.
Yeah, so here what we have been discussing is about the best practices that are being followed in higher education system right now, because we have most distinguished guests and panelists over here. And it is really nice to know, because all the panel discussions did highlight, whether they were talking about technology or anything, everybody highlighted that there is a gap in critical thinking, problem solving, and we need to make it more employability skills and things like that. And I think a lot of efforts or a lot of programs that are in place have been highlighted with the panel over here. So thank you, it was really interesting. I had a lot of takeaway. I'm sure even the audience enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for your time. Lovely audience, thank you.